Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children all ages, I, Sean Fitzgerald, here at the Actual Justice Warrior, am so proud to announce to you guys that Jussie Smollett, former Empire actor, has now been officially convicted, found guilty on 5 of 6 counts, or 6 of 6 counts. I should have looked it up into it before I did this video, but who cares, for orchestrating the Subway sandwich fiasco hate crime against himself, and I am so happy that he is done.
I will never be the man that this did not happen to. I am forever changed.
Turns out you will always be the person that this did not happen to, Jussie. But before we get into all the news, all the stuff, the potential sentences that Jussie Smollett may end up facing, we've got something golden and noble gold transition. Not even going to try to play it off because we got so much to talk about. Right now, something is just not adding up in the economy. Stocks are at all-time highs, but the government just borrowed $5 trillion. We're being told that inflation is just transitory, but it just went up 6.8%. This isn't making any sense, people. How much did your wages go up during this transitory time? And compare that to the transitory nature of gas prices and electricity prices, and you'll know that something's going on. And the best way to hedge against this is to put some of your money in precious metals. Right now, if you call Noble Gold Investments and open up a precious metals IRA, you can get this amazing gift, an America the Beautiful 5-ounce silver coin. It's really cool. It's a giant quarter. I like it. I promote it on the past. I keep it near me at all times because I think it's awesome, and you can get one of them and talk to a specialist if you go to noblegoldinvestments.com using my affiliate link pinned comment and top of the description, or you call them at 877-646-5347. Again, that's 877-646-5347. On January 29th, 2019, we received the third in a single month hate crime hoax that was perpetuated on Trump and his supporters, and this one was perpetuated by Jussie Smollett. Now, if you don't remember, if you don't recall, even though I've covered it multiple different times on this channel, Jussie Smollett alleged that during a polar vortex at around 2 in the morning, he decided to go out and get himself a Subway sandwich.
You know, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. You're going to Subway. Sub-zero.
Subway is open 24 hours. Like, people kill me when they say things like that because it's like Subway is open 24 hours for a reason. So that when you're hungry at night and you ain't got no food, you go to Subway.
And by the way, kudos to Subway for involving themselves in this story. This is the best crime-related story Subway has ever been involved with. And if you want to know about the other one, just look into the guy that used to be famous for losing weight on Subway. It's not very good. But that is neither here nor there, or as the professionals like to say, and I've waited to say throughout this entire case, that is neither nya nor nya. What we're here to talk about today is that apparently Jussie was attacked by evil white racist Trump supporters that were both evil, white, and racist, and Trump supporters, and homophobic, and they didn't like Jussie Smollett's character arc on Empire. Because when they went up to attack Mr. Jussie Smollett at 2 in the morning during this polar vortex with bleach and a noose that they had prepared for this racist, sexist, homophobic, erotic attack on him, they yelled out.
I could only go off of their words. I mean, who says Empire, this MAGA country, ties a noose around your neck and pours bleach on you?
Empire, and as I like to say, because we gotta clean it up for this show, friendly neighbor, this is MAGA country, and then they proceeded to clobber Jussie Smollett according to his story. Now, Jussie is not weak, and he wants you to know that as a gay man, he ain't not weak no how.
You know, there's a level of pride there. We live in a society where, as a gay man, you are considered somehow to be weak, and I'm not weak. I am not weak. And we are, as a people, are not weak. I want them to see that I fought back. And I want a little gay boy who might watch this to see that I fought back. And it does not take anything away from people that are not able to do that. But I fought back. They ran off. I didn't.
Not only that, Jussie fought back and they ran off. Those evil, white, racist Trump supporters who were both evil, white, racist, homophobic, and Trump supporters, and carried a bleach, and carried a noose, and also at the same time did not like Jussie Smollett's role on Empire at the moment because they mentioned his TV show, were the weak ones. They ran away, they ran off, they got scared, they wussed out, and that's the long and short of it. But it turns out that these evil, white, racist Trump supporters were actually 2 Nigerians, and instead of people who hated Jussie Smollett, it turns out these were his close friends that he had actually hired to do, keep him in training, personal training work. Yeah, that's the phrase that I'm looking for. So this left things a little bit awkward when Jussie clearly described white/pale skin to the police when referring to this instance, because obviously these two dudes unlikely to have white skin.
Did you get any kind of description of the attacker?
I gave a body description, and because I saw this, right here or whatever.
Oh, so you said that it was a white guy. What happened?
It feels like if I had said it was a Muslim or Mexican or someone black, I feel like the doubters would have supported me a lot more.
Oh, so you said that it was a white guy. What happened?
And that says a lot about the place that we are in our country right now. The fact that we have these fear mongers, these people that are trying to separate us, and it's just not okay.
Oh, so you said that it was a white guy. What happened?
Yes, Anna, they did say it was a white guy. What did happen is the question, or was the question, on all of our minds. But the thing is that they had an explanation for this, and I love this clip, and that's why I play this in almost every single Jussie Smollett video of his lawyer saying maybe they were wearing whiteface underneath the ski mask.
According to the court records, Smollett was very clear with police on the night of the attack that his attackers were white. He said they had masks on and gloves, but he saw their eyes and he saw the skin surrounding their eyes. Was that a false statement?
So just to be clear, he only saw one of the attackers. One of them he didn't see. He saw one through a ski mask. Again, he could not see their body. Everything was covered, and he had a full ski mask on except the area around the eyes. He did tell police that from what he saw, he thought it was pale skin or white or pale skin was, I think, what he said. And that was and that's why he initially did have a hard time.
Why did he say that? He could have said, I don't know.
He could have, but this, again, he's being truthful.
But if it's the Osundairo brothers, what are the chances that that's the case, that he saw somebody with light skin?
Well, I think there's, obviously you can disguise that. You could put makeup on. There is actually, interestingly enough, a video. I think police did minimal investigation in this case. It took me all of 5 minutes to Google. I was looking up the brothers, and one of the first videos that showed up actually was one of the brothers in whiteface doing a Joker monologue with white makeup on. And so it's not implausible.
Oh, so you said that it was a white guy. What happened?
This was the hoax. It was ridiculous. It was obvious on its face. Trump people don't call out intersectional identity groups. This is how people on the left think. Also, Jussie, including his Empire show, his role on the show, was a dead giveaway that this attack was not likely to have happened, because that would lead you to believe that the perpetrators were attacking him personally, but also for him being black and also for him being gay. But that would have meant they would have had to been waiting around for him to return from New York, even though his flight was delayed for 4 hours. None of this made sense. It did not add up.
Crossing the intersection, I heard Empire. I don't answer to Empire. My name ain't Empire.
And it just goes to show you the power that ego will have when you're constructing a narrative about yourself. Had Jussie just let go of the Empire thing, had he just made it seem like it was possible for people to attack him on the street, to not know who he is in the specific show that he works on, he might have actually been able to get away with it. It might have made it more believable on initial reaction, and maybe, just maybe, he would have got away with it. But he couldn't let it go. He had to include that they knew who he was, because he's Jussie Smollett. He's not just a regular gay in the gay district of Chicago. He's a famous gay, and he needs to be attacked for being famous, and for being gay, and for being black, and for going really, really hard at 45.
Why do you think you were targeted?
I can just assume, I come really, really hard against 45. I come really, really hard against his administration. And I don't hold my tongue.
Also, if you don't believe Jussie, if you didn't think that his story was true, if you made fun of him by calling him Jussie Smollett, or as Chris Rock said, calling him Jesse because the U is respect and he lost all of that, that makes you an evil fear mongrel that doesn't believe him because he didn't say it was somebody black or somebody Muslim.
And that says a lot about the place that we are in our country right now. The fact that we have these fear mongers. Fear mongers.
Now look, the reason I'm having so much fun with this story is because it is in fact such a joke. In fact, the jury deliberated for 9 hours to determine whether or not Jussie was guilty, and I can only imagine that 8 hours and 45 minutes of it was them laughing at the case so much before they could start deliberations. And then 10 minutes of it was them going to the bathroom, 5 minutes of it was them finding him guilty and then walking back to the courtroom and reading the verdict. That's how obvious his guilt was from the jump related to this case. However, Jussie did a strange thing. He actually took the stand in his own defense, which was crazy considering he is obviously guilty and obviously has not been telling the truth throughout this whole process. And this is where the real story is. Now, we covered Jussie Smollett's own attorney melting down, crying, and leaving the courtroom with her mother. I've obviously made fun of that clip of Jussie's attorney on TV talking about whiteface underneath the ski mask in order to fool Jussie into thinking that Trump supporters were attacking him. But Jussie's testimony just shows you how little character this man actually has. Because you know what Jussie tried to do in order to defend himself from this case? Because obviously the facts are stacked against him. Obviously, beyond a reasonable doubt, Jussie Smollett was in fact guilty of orchestrating this hate hoax. Jussie actually tried to play the gay panic card, which just goes to show you the level of character that this man actually has. He talked about nonstop on the stand how he was doing drugs and hooking up with one of these Nigerian brothers. Now, you might think this is a little bit odd, this is a little bit unusual. Why was he talking about this so much on the stand when he was testifying? And that is because this is actually something called a gay panic strategy. Let me give you a perfect example of this so you can understand what Jussie was doing and why it was so nasty, especially for somebody who considers himself an advocate of the LGBTQ XXIIJKXX427 community. So a couple of years back, there was a guy and his name was not Sean. And he used to date a girl named Danielle, and Danielle used to have a brother named Damien that was supposed to be bestest friends with this guy Sean. However, Damien and Danielle were keeping a secret from this guy, not Sean. I said Sean earlier, but it's totally not Sean. And that secret was Danielle was cheating on not Sean with somebody that we'll call Tommy. And this made not Sean really angry. This made not Sean really, really upset. So not Sean planned a homicide against all the parties involved in order to punish them for their sins of wronging me personally. Now, this was a little bit, fantasy land and all that, because eventually when he processed everything through his mind, he realized that there was no way to get around getting caught for this homicide. But then it dawned on him, he should stage it as a double murder suicide, and the way that he would prevent the cops from looking into it too much was to actually have Damien be the perpetrator and have this happen because Damien was hooking up with Tommy and he was mad at his sister for keeping his true love in the closet. So not Sean decided to take out his weapon of sorts, which we won't describe because of legal reasons, Fifth Amendment privilege, make Damien write out a note detailing all these things, and then executed the triple murder but set it up like a double murder and a suicide. And this is how Not Sean is a successful YouTuber on this platform today. Because the disgust factor is real, and when people hear this crazy mixed up homosexual relationship, cheating, the whole process thing, it makes them not want to look too closely. And the reason this worked for Not Sean is the same reason that Jussie tried to use it on the stand. He was trying to use the disgust surrounding homophobia to kind of like fart in the room so nobody would want to breathe in and take in what was going on in order to get himself out of this case. And I found this absolutely amazing and ridiculous to read about for somebody who is trying to be an advocate for little black gay boys out there everywhere to talk about the power that they have in their little itty bitty pinky.
I just want young people, young members of the LGBTQ community, young black children to know how strong that they are, to know the power that they hold in their little pinky.
Seriously, think about it. These people call betraying your own community the worst possible thing that you could do. And here you have Jussie Smollett, Jussie Smollett, Jussie Smollett, because the U is respect, using a tired, past, homophobic trope in order to defend himself at trial, in order to disgust the jury to the point where they don't look into it so much and they might give him a not guilty verdict. That's how valuable Jussie feels that the gay community is to him, in that when they help him, when they support him, they have value. And then when it hurts them, when he has to support them, maybe not so much. That's the whole point of being a part of these identity groups. It's all about power. That's why Jussie called himself the gay Tupac, not because he was trying to uplift the gay community, but because he was trying to use his identity status to uplift himself, because it was always all about Jussie, not about helping anybody else, and not about those little gay boys with all that power in their pinky. Now, I knew this wasn't going to work. I knew that Jussie was too far gone, and one of the reasons I knew for sure that Jussie was going to get convicted is even Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks didn't buy into Jussie's story. I mean, think about it. Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks was skeptical.
For them to drop all the charges, that means at a bare minimum, they would have had enormous difficulty getting a conviction at a bare minimum, okay?
Right.
So that's just a fact. So at least that was their interpretation of the case they had. Them dropping the charges saying, we had a super weak case. It doesn't mean he didn't do it, but it means that they would have had enormous challenges in convicting him.
Why would two Nigerian brothers, one of whom is allegedly his trainer, attack him and yell racial epithets at him?
I have no idea. Were they running a scam? I don't know. Okay, was he running a scam? I don't know.
Now, Cenk bought in, of course, proving in this instance he is definitely the dumber member of that panel. But Anna was super skeptical of the idea that these two Nigerians would be throwing racial epithets at Jussie Smollett and Jussie wouldn't be able to recognize their voices. You know how major that is? You know how devastating that is for your case ever in the United States of America? It took Anna Kasparian about 15 months to realize that Joseph Rosenbaum chased Kyle Rittenhouse, despite every single video showing that since day one of the Rittenhouse case. And even this was too far for Anna to believe. Even this was clear enough for her to understand what went on. That's how bad Jussie's story was, and he got shredded in cross-examination. They got under his skin, he showed his attitude, he looked terrible. There was a point where he attacked and snapped at the prosecutor because the prosecutor suggested that he looked perfectly fine in his interviews post that, because he was talking about scars and bruises and all that. And he was like, you don't know what it's like to be famous and covered in makeup in Hollywood. It makes you look better on the stand or on TV during your interviews. And Jussie, obviously a total buffoon, made himself look terrible in front of the jury, completely unsympathetic, exactly what you don't want to go through. But again, when you subject somebody who's obviously lying to cross-examination, you can't expect him to perform well. So not only is Jussie Smollett a stupid person who wrote out the most ridiculous plotline ever that any, even today, TV show would have rejected as absurd, he's also a terrible person. Not only did he try to personally profit off of sowing the seeds of division in this nation, not only did he try to smear half the country because they disagreed with him politically, but he also, when push came to shove, threw his own gay community that he's supposedly an advocate for right under the bus and played into some dark homophobic stereotypes in order to create disgust amongst the jurors so that he can get acquitted, which in the end didn't even work. Jussie Smollett will do absolutely anything to benefit Jussie Smollett. He's all about him. He's a me guy.
I'm an advocate. I respect too much the people who I am now one of those people who have been attacked in any way. You do such a disservice when you lie about things like this.
And it was that ego, that idea that he was above everybody else who isn't famous, the idea that everybody should be paying attention to him, that led to his ultimate undoing. Jussie right now is facing about a $25,000 fine. I'm not sure if that's per charge or total, or 3 years in prison based on the felony convictions that he received. Now, he's a first-time offender, and typically first-time offenders get lighter sentences, but since Jussie testified in the court of law and the jury rebuked him in every possible way by finding him guilty on count after count, Jussie might actually serve some jail time, and he probably should serve some jail time. He probably should face up that he isn't all that and see the consequences of his actions. I saw a lot of prison scenes from that show Empire that Jussie was involved in. The Osindara brothers were cast as prisoners in a few of those. Maybe Jussie needs to see what it's like on the inside of a real prison. Protective custody, obviously, he is a high-profile inmate, wouldn't want him to get hurt, but maybe he needs to see how the lowest in society live because he acted and he has the personality of somebody who belongs in the lowest of our society. But hey, those are just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you liked the video, you can show them by leaving a like. You can subscribe for more content. You can follow me on all my social medias. They're linked in the description box. You can support me via the support links. Jesus Christ. I'm just getting worse and worse at talking. Also in the description box. And if you have tips for a murder that Not Sean may or may not have committed, don't call Crime Stoppers in New York. This has been me talking about Jussie Smollett being convicted. Till next time.